Good morning, Bitcoins, and welcome to World Crypto Book Club. We've been talking about this idea for a little while now, and we're running out of time, so it's time to just do things. I'm joined by Nick, Pi Rebel.
How's it going, Tom?
Going good. And I just want to talk to the people and give a basic intro to what our idea is here with the Crypto Book Club. I want to give them a brief introduction to the first book that we've chosen, which is Snow Crash. And I want to invite them back to our discussion next week, which our goal for this week is to read the first 100 pages of Snow Crash and to come back next week for a discussion. We're going to be having questions and answers, which I think I forgot to turn on this week, but we'll have those turned on for sure next week. And we'll even bring you into the video chat. If you have a webcam and a microphone, you can join us and give us your thoughts about the book, about the first 100 pages of Snow Crash. But first, Nick, maybe a little background. Why did we start World Crypto Book Club?
I think we started this book club because we've read a lot of cyberpunk books in our days up to now, and we're starting to see a lot of convergence between what was written in these books over the last, 60 years and what's going on today. We're seeing a lot of these networks and autonomous organizations appear. We're seeing, Bitcoin specifically is a big part of how all these worlds function. There's always some sort of credit that no one really controls, but everybody trades and uses as commerce. So I think it's important that maybe we share this information that we've got from these books over time and share it with the other members of the community.
And a lot of these books may be classics, they may be old to us, but they might be brand new to you. So we're hoping that maybe if you haven't heard of one of these books, you'll pick it up and try to read it. And like Nick said, the ideas of cryptocurrency come from these books. A lot of us are very used to the idea of cryptocurrency and sending credits back and forth. Maybe we'll have little bracelets on our wrist that'll tell us how many credits we have left, and you can wave your wand over a thing to pay because we've read about it in these books. And this is just a way for everyone to get back to the roots of where cryptocurrency comes from, and so the whole cyberpunk movement, crypto anarchy, any of these ideas that we talk about every day on the World Crypto Network.
Yeah, it's definitely something that has been getting lost as the community has gotten larger, and we've seen VCs move in and talk about bringing in state controls, where this originally started as a crypto anarchist project, and those were the people who originally flocked to it. This was their, way out, so to speak.
And it still is. That's the beauty of crypto anarchy is the outside forces, these regulators, these businessmen, they can never really corrupt what these people have made because they've made such a beautiful system with Bitcoin, the way it works, public address to public address, the way the money sends around. That can never be changed or edited, no matter how much regulation they pull down.
Yeah, so it's brilliant. It's brilliant, and I think that's why we need to maybe read back through these books and see what else is coming down the pipes.
So first, I made a big book stack here on my desk, and I don't want to waste that. So I'm going to give you some ideas of other books that we might read in the future. And remember, this is it's a democratic book club. We're open to your suggestions and your ideas. We're probably going to start off with some of the classics: Snow Crash by Neal Stephenson, William Gibson's Neuromancer. But after we work through some of the top 3 or 4 or 5 classics, it'll be pretty much open to your suggestions. So we will be very open to some new ideas. But here's just some quick titles in case you're looking for more books to read. Software by Rudy Rucker. That's a good one. Douglas Copeland's Microserfs. You can see him down there in the corner. Maybe some Kurt Vonnegut Jr., something like Hocus Pocus, perhaps. We've, of course, I couldn't find Neuromancer, but I found the 2 sequels, Mona Lisa Overdrive and Count Zero. Good books there.
Awesome.
Maybe a little Fight Club, mix it up a little, not exactly about cryptography, but very much about decentralized organizations, rules, and so forth. Rules for crazy fighting anarchists. The first thing is get a bunch of rules.
Those are things that have existed long before cryptocurrency, like decentralized communities and whatnot. These are things that still exist today in some regions of the world.
It's just now we have a great reason to make our own with the crypto. We have this thing that we already have in common that allows us to make an economic connection together. much like the characters in Cory Doctorow's For the Win, where the gold farmers in virtual worlds hooked up and unionized with the Americans who bought their gold, things like that.
Awesome.
Everything's tilting to the left. We got a few more. We've got the Diamond Age, reflective cover, I guess, but by Neil Stephenson. This is a great book. It talks about basically a Kindle type book that would be. It's called like a young lady's illustrated primer, and the book's supposed to teach you how to be a nice, genteel young woman. But the character in the book gets a special version of the book built for rich people's kids that teaches you how to be a rebel and how to question things and how to think for yourself. And that's basically where we're going with this internet, with these ideas that we're putting out here, is a whole society of people who know how to think for themselves, who can be that rebel, who can, react to different ideas and think, something new. Like Vonnegut said, the human that most interested God was the one that always kept him guessing. He always kept God guessing. So, and then we've got a little J-Pod. This is a great Douglas Copeland book. Funny he used Legos again, and I couldn't leave it on the shelf even though it's way too big to carry around. But Douglas Adams, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I think we probably won't do all 5 or all 6, but we would be remiss if we didn't at least do the first book. So many of the ideas are in what we do these days.
I agree. That's probably my favorite book of all time. Absolutely, hands down. So good. So good.
And that's what's great about this list and going through these. A lot of these are books that I've read twice anyway, like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It's just such a treat. The language is so light. And we were talking earlier, Ready Player One. I just read that maybe 3-6 months ago, and I look forward to reading that again. It is absolutely dynamite. Ready Player One. It's just a treasure. So the first book that we're going to read, though, is Snow Crash by Neil Stephenson. And this was written back in 1992. Stephenson was not a big deal. He hadn't written Cryptonomicon, which is a lot of his fame these days. I haven't read it. It's difficult to read, the very large book, Cryptonomicon. But this is a much lighter book, a much more, I think, fun book. It's kind of a light version of sci-fi. It's not very, I didn't find it, it's been a long time since I read it, but I didn't find it too heavy on the science or anything. It's very light, very easy to read, very fun and jokey. Like I thought this was more like a kind of a Mad Magazine version of William Gibson, a much lighter take on things. So just a little bit from the wiki. We don't want to do too many spoilers, but watch out, there might be some spoilers. So if you can't take that, turn it off now and just read the first 100 pages. But Snow Crash is it doesn't even say anything here, but basically it's about hero protagonist, and he's kind of a computer programmer, but I think he also drives a car for a pizza company. And in the future, pizza delivery is one of the most important services in the world. And if you don't get it there in 30 minutes or less, incredible things will happen. And that's where the book picks up right there. And I also loved it because it has a character that lives in a storage locker, which is always something that I thought was a good idea back in the day. And especially now they have the air-conditioned ones. So just a lot of great ideas in here. You might see the name YT. Yours truly, one of the characters, is also a name used by Coin Artist. She calls herself YT. So maybe you guys will notice that and have a laugh. Nick, what do you think? What are your thoughts about Snow?
I'm really looking forward to this book. I really am. I've read Cryptonomicon, and I know it's still, or Neil Stephenson is capable of writing, and I'm looking forward to this, especially the whole concept of corporations being these like huge, almost governmental organizations. It sounds awesome.
As I recall it, the different corporations like Domino's Pizza and KFC, they're just as big as like the government. And the government wears like big jackets that say Fed on them, and all the KFC and Domino guys, they wear big jackets that say KFC. Everyone's a part of their own little group, and it really is. I hadn't seen the films when I watched this, but going back to the book, it reminds me of Akira Kurosawa films, The Seven Samurai, and especially like Yojimbo, where he's a man alone without a master, and that's without a corporation in this book. You are so cut off. You're so not a part of things. You really need this corporation or this government to pledge to be a part, to be able to act in the society. And that's really where we're going. That's what it feels like if you're not a part of it.
Yeah, it really does. It really feels like we're moving towards this. And you see it with everybody like pimping their brands. Look at just an example, Nike Fuel. You wear their Nike Fuel, you get your fuel points, and now you can spend your Nike Fuel points inside the Nike ecosystem. And these are just exercise points, you know, like people are really they're adopting these brands and corporations as part of their lifestyle.
Absolutely. Lifestyle is the key word. It's not just a sneaker anymore. It's a lifestyle. They are living the Nike lifestyle, which is different than the Adidas lifestyle or different than the Reebok lifestyle. And
different than the not even having a shoe company lifestyle, you know?
Completely different. Well, and just so many layers beyond that. I sent you that song First World
Problems.
That's very much like that's what we're looking at here, is that the multiple layers of Nike is a first world problem, and whether or not you have a fuel band or I have a Fitbit or you have a pedometer. Oh, you just track your steps. How ancient of you.
Yeah, right? You don't track your sleep? You don't know how many hours of deep sleep you get? Jeez, Tom, you really need to up your game.
At first, it was just me. It was the geeks that were into this quantification of yourself type things, but it really has branched out, and that's here in Snow Crash too. I think it was actually in the Diamond Age, but a very small point. There's one character who's working out his muscles, right? And he's getting bigger muscles, but the way he's doing it is not through working out at like a gym. He's put these little nanites into his arms, and what the nanites do is they make his muscles twitch like every 5 minutes. And because of this every 5-minute twitching, he's got huge bulking muscles now. And we're not far off from that. Like, this kind of thing is coming. Like, all the ideas in these books seem to come very, very true.
Yeah, so they're going to be coming on us really quickly, and I think that's why we wanted to start this book club, right?
Yep. And I think that's about it for the intro. I don't want to spoil too much, and I don't even really remember that much about the book, so I look forward to relearning it, re-experiencing it. But here it is right here, Snow Crash by Neal Stephenson. You can check it out. I've even got a nice hard copy. Of course, I'm going to read on my Kindle, but I have a nice hard copy as well. And hopefully you'll download it on your Kindle and check it out. All the information for this series is going to be on the Reddit/r/World Crypto Network, and we're going to have a new post for each section of this discussion if you want to discuss the introduction, and then when we do the first 100 pages next week of Snow Crash. So that's your assignment. You now have a reading assignment because you just joined the World Crypto Book Club with Tom and Nick.
Cheers.
Say goodbye, Nick.
Bye, Tom.
Bye, Nick.